First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be possible. Low Nose Boxing. Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. This weekend, big fight weekend. I mean, it's not a big fight weekend as far as pay-per-view fights, but it's definitely the biggest fight for 140 pounds. And the reason why I say that is because the Kingpin, the lineal champion at 140 pounds, Teofimo Lopez, is taking on Steve Claggett. Teofimo Lopez is taking on an opponent who, because of his record, Teofimo Lopez is getting a lot of slander behind it because Steve Claggett has 7 losses. However, Steve Claggett is on a 9-fight winning streak. Steve Claggett does have a victory over the first guy that defeated Subriel Matias, who Subriel Matias also went on to avenge that loss. Steve Claggett is a fighter that comes forward, throws a lot of punches, a fighter with a very, very intense gas tank. And based on Teofimo Lopez and how he's talking in the build-up to this fight, he sounds like he's zoned in. He sounds like he's not taking Steve Claggett lightly in any way, shape, or form. Teofimo Lopez has a stigma that says he fights to the level of his competition. That's something that he has to shake off. He has to shake that off. And he's shown in the past that he can take care of a fighter that's not on his level. Because when he was coming up, he took on some decent guys, but they weren't on his level. Guys like Mason Menard, guys like Diego Magdaleno, and a few other fighters coming up, right? And Teofimo Lopez took those guys out. He wasn't playing around with his food. Teofimo Lopez has to go back to taking care of guys that are not on his level. That's why I give a lot of props to Gervonta Davis, because Gervonta Davis is consistent with his performances. Teofimo Lopez has the opportunity this Saturday night to shake that off. I've been watching him train on social media, and like I said before, he looks zoned in. I'm predicting Teofimo Lopez by a 5th round TKO with an exhilarating performance. But what I want to talk about right now is Teofimo Lopez's status at 140 pounds. Now, if you've been following my channel, you already know that I speak very highly of the junior welterweight division. I've stated numerous times that 140 pounds right now is the money division in boxing. But things have changed. The reason why I say that is because some of the bigger names at 140 pounds have took losses. And because of their losses, the top echelon of that division doesn't look as deep as it did before, right? Teofimo Lopez, the top dog. You had Devin Haney as a champion. You had Subriel Matias as a champion, right? Right now, Teofimo Lopez is the lineal champion. Then you have Isaac Pitbull Cruz. You got Liam Parrell. And then you got the Dominican Bull, the one that just beat Gary Antoine Russell, right? Alberto Puello. So right now, those are not really sexy names right now at the moment at 140 pounds as far as the champions, as far as the belt holders, right? But I always said before, the special fighters at 140 pounds are the guys that moved up from 135 pounds. 140 pounds always been a solid division. When you had Josh Taylor on top, you had Regis Prograis, you had Jose Ramirez, you still got some good guys there like Gary Antoine Russell, you can't throw him away. You got Subriel Matias, you got Liam Parrell. It's not like Liam Parrell outclassed Subriel Matias. I firmly believe that in the rematch, if Subriel Matias is more active and implements the jab, he can pull off the victory and get that revenge, right? But 140 pounds, the special guys were the guys from 135. Teofimo Lopez moved up from 135 pounds. Devin Haney moved up from 135 pounds. Those two fighters showed that they were levels above everybody else, even though they did not fight everybody else yet. But the way Teofimo Lopez took care of Josh Taylor, the way Devin Haney took care of Regis Prograis, they showed that they are the cream of the crop. And even though Devin Haney did just take a loss to Ryan Garcia, which was controversy, right? It was still to another fighter who came up from 140 pounds in Ryan Garcia. Excuse me, a fighter that came from 135 pounds in Ryan Garcia, another special fighter. When Gervonta Davis had that one fight at 140 against Mario Barrios, which he stopped him in the 11th round, once again, Gervonta Davis, a fighter that came from 135 pounds. So based on my observation, for the most part, all the rest of the guys at 140 pounds are more or less around the same level, but with different skill sets, like Richardson Hitchens, Gary Antoine Russell, Subriel Matias, Sandor Martin. All those guys are very good fighters, but the special guy there is Teofimo Lopez, which brings me to my point. With all these changing of the guards going on at 140 pounds, Teofimo Lopez is the last man standing at the end of the day. And this Saturday, Teofimo Lopez has to make a statement. He has to make a statement, or else I'm going to have egg on my face. Because I'm making a bold statement right now by saying that Teofimo Lopez is the last man standing at 140 pounds. When Devin Haney was a champion there, he was a rival with Teofimo Lopez. And even though Bob Arum is talking about a potential fight with Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, I don't like that fight right now, because Devin Haney is coming off of a beatdown to Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney will have to rebound in a major way in order to make that fight attractive again, just like Teofimo Lopez had to bounce back in a major way by defeating Josh Taylor. Hands down, Teofimo Lopez is the last man standing at 140 pounds. He has the speed. He has the athleticism. He has the amateur pedigree. He has the boxing skills. He has the resume. He has the knockout power. For me, Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Tank Davis is the biggest fight to make at 140 pounds whenever Gervonta Davis moves up to 140 pounds. Now, like I said before, the fights, the landscape at 140 is not that attractive as before as far as big money fights, because Teofimo Lopez versus Liam Powell is not as big as a Teofimo Lopez versus a Subriel Matias, Puerto Rican Day Parade weekend in Madison Square Garden. Teofimo Lopez versus Alberto Puello is not as attractive as Teofimo Lopez versus an undefeated Devin Haney with a title, right? Ryan Garcia is a big name, but Ryan Garcia is suspended for a year. And Ryan Garcia, from the way he's looking right now, I doubt that he's going to go back to 140 pounds whenever, if ever, he does decide to come back to boxing. Pitbull Cruz is a big fight. That's a fight that I would like for Teofimo Lopez, because Pitbull Cruz is a fighter that went 12 rounds with Gervonta Davis and put up a very tough fight. So if Teo were to fight a Pitbull Cruz, which will be a barometer fight, which will be a barometer opponent between him and Gervonta Davis, and if he can beat Pitbull Cruz more decisively and more impressively than Gervonta Davis, that will be a statement. See, I'm into barometer fights when it comes to taking on a common opponent, right? Somebody that someone struggled with. See, I never wanted Teo versus Ryan Garcia when Ryan was coming off of the Gervonta Davis loss, because the way Gervonta Davis took Ryan Garcia apart, I can't see anybody else doing it that way, right? And if Teo were to struggle or defeat Ryan Garcia in less impressive fashion than Gervonta Davis, he wouldn't get credit for it. I said that Ryan Garcia would have to bounce back, but he did. He did bounce back, so I like that fight now. Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez, same thing. If Teo beats Devin Haney or knocks him out, he's not going to get the same credit, because Ryan Garcia already did it. And if Teo were to go 12 or struggle with Devin Haney or even lose to Devin Haney, it would look bad for him, because Devin Haney got taken apart by a fighter who was an underdog in Ryan Garcia. So Devin Haney, just like Ryan Garcia did, just like Teofimo Lopez did, has to pick up the pieces to make that fight attractive again. Now, with that being said, Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, Low Nose Boxing, because Low Nose Boxing. I'm out.